Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Adam Hendricks. He's in Logan County, and you represent the Kentucky Soybean Association and the Kentucky Soybean Promotion Board. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
I'm glad you're here today because today we're going to kind of walk people through how that soybean, the miracle bean as it's called, how it's produced, because I think that people drive along and they see it in the on the roadways, but they don't understand maybe the process that we go to raise that soybean.
Sure. So we raise it's the same bean, but we raise two different cropping systems, if you will. So we'll have full season soybeans, and then we have double crop soybeans. Our area, we can raise wheat in the winter, and then it will be harvested in the summer, basically. And then we can plant that bean there in June, and then we can harvest it in that fall. So that's called a double crop soybean because we get two crops in 1 year, if that makes sense. So we've got full season beans and double crop beans.
And full season beans we plant earlier, right, and then harvest them a little bit earlier, but about the same time in the fall.
That's right. So we'll try to plant it about the same time we plant corn. So when we're out in the early spring in that April time frame, we try to plant our full season beans then, and they will grow, and then we'll plant our double crop beans, and they will kind of pace each other. They'll be behind, but they will harvest about the same time, maybe a little earlier in the fall. So.
Yeah, and so it really depends on your soil type and some of those things, what cropping system you utilize.
It does. Wheat has to be on more of a well-drained soil type. If it's a wet-natured soil, wheat doesn't do very well. So in Logan County where we farm, we have well-drained soil, so we utilize wheat a lot, and it just kind of breaks up. It gives us a third crop. It gives us good rotation. So.
Absolutely, and the soybean is a legume. For some people who might not be familiar with that, though, it does fix some nitrogen, so it's a good crop for the soil.
That's right. So we'll plant the bean. We don't have to feed it like corn. Corn, we have to feed it. We have to put nitrogen on it and kind of take care of it. Beans will grow. They fix their own nitrogen. We put fertilizer down in the spring before we plant. That will feed the crop throughout. It will produce its own nitrogen and then harvest in the fall.
And a lot of times with corn, we can see the ear.
Right.
So obviously soybeans a bean. Explain a little bit about that, how that forms in the pod and what that looks like and how many are on a plant. How many do we get?
Okay, so we plant the bean. It comes up. A lot of times you'll see a stem come straight up. It's got a trifoliate, so it has 3 leaves. Instead of having one single leaf that comes out, it'll have 3 leaves. So it's a bushy type plant. So you'll usually have a main stem. Sometimes you'll have secondary stems, but the nodes, it'll have each little node up through there, and then the pods will come out at each node. So you'll have several clusters of pods throughout that main stem. There's typically 3 to 4 beans in each pod, and you'll have maybe 60 or 70 or something like that, depending on yield, pods per plant. And then, of course, we've got 140 or 50,000 plants per acre, so you can start to see where we get some pretty big yields.
So I think people would be surprised that there's that many plants. It kind of looks like a solid C, and that's why.
It does. Beans are really good about compensating. So if we miss some, corn is very particular. It has to be perfect stand. Beans can kind of compensate. If they have room, they will bush out and make a bigger bush, but if they don't have a lot of room, they'll just kind of grow in a thin line and kind of occupy the space that they have available.
So fall is harvest time.
Right.
And so harvesting these beans, it's a whole operation in itself.
It is. So we'll go out in the fall. We take our combine, which is the massive piece of equipment that you see. We'll hook our header to it that cuts the bean off at the ground. It runs it through the combine, and it just basically just rubs it together, and it'll break those pods open and break the bean out of the pod and put it in the grain tank. So then a lot of times we'll have a tractor and a grain cart come alongside the combine. We try to keep the combine going as much as we can just for efficiency, and they will dump into the grain cart. So got the combine, the tractor, and the grain cart, and then we'll take it and put it on semis and either take it to the bin or take it to the elevator.
All right, well, I certainly appreciate you sharing that information. And for all our viewers out there, if you get behind some farm equipment, please be patient. They're just trying to get that crop harvested and out of the field, but certainly appreciate you visiting with us today, and we appreciate you watching. Have a great day.